Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another video. Thanks very much for tuning in. In today's video, I want to explore the idea is, can you invest in commercial real estate with less than $150,000? And let me give you a little hint. Yes, you can. So you stay around and watch the entire video. I'm going to share with you exactly how I have done it several times. So my name is Trent, and I started investing in commercial real estate in 2019. My first investment was a 15,000 square foot light industrial building that we bought for $1.3 million. We put 10% down, and it was in really rough shape when we bought it, so we learned a great deal. And over the next 2 years, we stabilized the building and then were able to sell it for a 211% return on investment. So that was pretty phenomenal. And on this channel, I publish videos every week to share with you my journey of becoming a more successful commercial real estate investor, so that hopefully you can follow along, learn things, and then implement these strategies in your own investing. If you'd like to learn more, please make sure that you visit investwithtrent.com/start. So in this video, we're going to talk about two types of deals. One where you're the actual building owner, which I did as my first investment, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And then number two, for those of you with smaller amounts of money, where you invest as a limited partner in somebody else's deals, and we'll talk about that in an upcoming section. So to begin with, let's talk about my first deal. I had a business at the time that was inventory heavy. So we actually needed space to be able to process all the inventory that we shipped off to Amazon and sold, because I had a thriving Amazon reseller business at that point in time. So I found a building that was just listed on it's not called the MLS in commercial real estate. I think it was listed on LoopNet, or it might have been Crexi, I don't remember. Called the broker, found out what they were asking, and then got the broker's help in making the acquisition. Now, how we financed that building and how we were able to get in with such a low down payment of just 10% is we financed it with an SBA loan. Now, the deal with an SBA loan is you must have at least the intent, key word, intent to occupy at least 51% of the building. So I approached the bank that I was dealing with and I said, hey, this is a 15,000 square foot building. I'm never going to need 51% of this building. I just need one of the 7 units. And they said, oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You only have to have the intent. And it's unlikely that the SBA will ever come back and review the file, which over the next couple of years, they did not do. So I don't know whether the SBA turns a blind eye or whether the bank turns a blind eye. All I know is that we had the intent to do it, but we never were able to fulfill on that during the time that we were occupying the building. Now, I've got a full-length video that talks more about what we did with this building and how the tenants all had to go and what the numbers looked like, and I'll place a link to that video down in the description so you can watch it, because it does go into a lot more detail than I have time to go into in this particular video. Coming up next, we're going to talk about limited partnerships, and these are an excellent way to get started, and the rates of return, if you find the right partner, can absolutely be phenomenal. So I have a very quick but super important favor to ask. Most of the people who are watching this video are not yet subscribers to the Invest with Trent channel, and it would mean the world to me if you would take just a split second right now and click that subscribe button. It really does make a huge difference to the channel, so thank you in advance for doing it. So what if you don't have $150,000 in cash laying around? Then what? Well, the key is to diversify and leverage syndications, creative financing, and strong partnerships. Syndications lower entry points and risks by sharing ownership with experienced sponsors, and creative financing techniques can stretch your $150,000 a whole lot further. So the myth is that you need to buy the entire property all alone, and you don't have to. The reality is joint ventures and syndications are very powerful. It's something that I've been using extensively over the last couple of years. For example, about 4 years ago, I got my start doing limited partnerships. I actually did it with a neighbor of mine who had become a general partner and was buying mobile home parks. And mobile home parks can be very, very lucrative investments. And so the way that it worked, I think our first deal, We did $25,000 if memory serves me correctly. Really didn't have any idea what I was doing, but I trusted my neighbor, read all the documents, did the things that you would do before putting money into a deal. Now, the way these deals typically work is you're going to get a preferred rate of return. That is generally somewhere around 6 to 8% per year. It's usually paid quarterly. Now, if the general partner does a really good job at managing the asset by making improvements and raising rents, they're going to drive the value of the asset up significantly, which is exactly what happened. And then that creates an opportunity for a cash out refi. And this is really the gold of being a limited partner investor, because what happened in our case is we got 80% of our money back, which turned our cash on cash yield from 8 or 7 or 8% to 70%, which was phenomenal. And our internal rate of return over the period of time that we own the investment went to the high teens or almost 20%, which is also phenomenal. All for $25,000 completely passively. We didn't have to do a thing other than cash the checks. So if you're just getting started, you really need to understand what type of investor that you want to be and then choose appropriately. If you would like passive income, being a limited partner investor can be a very, very hands-off and lucrative way to accomplish your goals. So now let's talk about some of the biggest mistakes that new investors can make. So common errors include over-leveraging, trusting poorly vetted partners, and skipping due diligence altogether. Each mistake can cost you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending upon how much money you're putting into a deal. So over-leveraging, that's simply just borrowing with too much risk. And that's, if as an LP investor, that's something that's controlled by the general partner. And if you're investing on your own, obviously that's something that you can control. Number two is bad partners. Make sure that you vet the people that you are investing with. Understand, what is their track record? What have they done before? What does their reporting look like? What is their investment criteria? What does their documentation look like? These are all things that you need to understand. And then due diligence, which is one way of knowing if your partner is going to be bad or not, is never skip due diligence. Make sure that you're reviewing financials. If you are the general partner, you need to review the tenant leases. You need to understand the local market conditions, which is one of the reasons why, as a general partner, I advise that you stick to one particular market, probably the one that you live in. But as a limited partner, you have more flexibility to go more places, because really you're trusting the general partner that you're investing with to have an understanding of what they're doing, and they might be experts in more than one market. So you can learn more about these pitfalls in this beginner guide. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Commercial Real Estate Investing, and I'll place a link to it down in the description. So thanks very much for watching. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and most of the videos I'll be publishing for the next while, this is me really documenting my journey of becoming a more successful real estate investor, as opposed to sitting here as the be-all, know-all expert of investing in commercial real estate. I have definitely had some success. I have definitely learned some very valuable lessons, and I have much to pass on your way. So I hope you do decide to come along for the journey by subscribing to the channel. If you have found this video to be helpful, please consider giving it a like. And you may also want to head over to my website, investwithtrent.com/start, to see what other additional resources I have for you. Thanks very much for watching. It's been a pleasure to see you, although I didn't get to see you, but you got to see me. We'll see you in another video soon. Take care. Bye-bye.